What up, everybody? Welcome into the DLLS Cowboys Podcast. What a glorious day. What a great day to be a Cowboy fan. We'll talk about things they might have learned from yesterday, how tough this division is about to be. Micah Parsons! You've seen this playbook before, right? They're going to trade Micah! The show starts. Meow. All right, what's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome in to the DLLS Cowboys Podcast on a day where we just had a Super Bowl and the Eagles. I meant to write on my whiteboard, just damn it, or the S word and hold it up, but I forgot to. But that's how I feel this morning. And it's not just because I'm hungover; it's because the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And that's tough.
New Orleans wasn't enough?
What? You
hungover again?
Oh, yeah, I made a mistake yesterday.
That's fair.
Yeah, mistakes were made. I'm miserable right now. But I'm really happy to be back in the friendly confines. I'm really happy to have this guy back. And we're really happy to talk Cowboys football with you. We got rumorooskies about Micah Parsons that we're going to start the show off with. My name is Jeff. Next to me is one of the co-hosts of our DLLS Mavericks podcast, Jesse Holly.
Oh, Jesse Holly went 77 yards. It must be a reality show.
I'm so happy to be back on my tribe. Nothing wrong with I had a great time with the Mavericks guys, but you know, it's nothing like home.
Yeah,
nothing like being home.
If you want to talk bad about Bobby, it's fun.
No,
He's
your
right
people
there.
get you, right? Your people understand you. Your people, your tribe. This is my tribe, and so I am thankful to have been with the Mavericks for a week. Had some breaking news, but I am even more thankful to be back with my tribe.
And after Jesse got Luka traded, maybe he'll get Micah traded today. And next to him is the greatest beat writer in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. And I will tell you, Radio Row monster who knows everyone on planet Earth. But maybe he doesn't. Everyone knows him, the great Clarence Hill.
If you want to win, put pop. What's up, guys? I'm on fumes. Long week in New Orleans. I stayed 2 extra days to kick it a little bit, with my friends. And
kick it.
Yeah, I need to sleep.
How many cigars you have in them 2 days?
A few.
Okay.
You made the money and spent the money in the same place. Cardinal sin.
You know what?
That's a cardinal sin.
You know what?
I used to do that with appearance fees at Gentlemen's Club.
The beautiful thing about the Super Bowl, and you should go, is that they do have VIP parties.
I've been.
I did not spend a dime on food on Friday or Saturday.
There you go.
Food.
There you go.
Or no, they are free drinks. Everything is free.
But what about
drinks.
cigars, though? Nothing was free.
They were free.
Cigars were free?
Yes.
You at the top. You at the top. Not
yeah.
Why were we doing that in the middle of the week?
Yeah.
Time out. TC, after the show, can we just cut like the 3 seconds where he was just looking like he was a 7-year-old who got all the treats?
Yeah. Treats. Yeah. The treats.
Snacks.
Next Clarence is another monster. Kicked ass on Radio Row. Content churning machine. The great Joe Hoyt.
Tell him something, Joe.
Usually I try to emulate Clarence because I look up to him and, he's a mentor of mine. But I think he's looking up to me recently because he's rocking the black hat, too. That's a new thing for you.
I got this one at the Super Bowl.
Great stuff.
The CAA party.
Oh.
Free stuff.
Damn.
Okay, so we're
Fancy.
starting the show with Micah Parsons talk because the Cowboys are really good at this. The Super Bowl happened, and then a story came out about the Dallas Cowboys, haven't had trade talks about Micah Parsons, but according to Ian Rappaport, like in the building have at least discussed, hey, should we pay this guy? Or what about a king's ransom if we trade this guy? And so let's see. How do we want to start this? Because if I go to Clarence, he's going to be like, it's not going to happen. And that kills the whole segment. So let's just go to...
Why don't we welcome back Jesse?
Let's just welcome Jesse back with Micah talk.
So, let me first off say this. If the Joneses are being good, responsible owners and runners of a team, they should check.
Agreed.
If they are being true to who they're supposed to be, right? Like if they're saying, hey, we are leaving no stone unturned because we may actually be able to get something that we cannot refuse. So for them not to check would be malpractice. So I think checking is not bad. Seeing what's out there, seeing what people are saying and what people may want to do, especially leading up to the draft. Some teams are now looking at their rosters and looking at where they're at with the cap, and depending on, the Phillies now won the Super Bowl, they start to say, okay, what do I need in comparison to what my first division will look like and then my conference will look like. So for them, if, doing their due diligence about it is what you're supposed to do as somebody who is in that seated position.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Joe?
I also think it's a classic playbook. Bless you, CC.
God bless your heart and soul.
I think it's a classic playbook move on not only the Cowboys' behalf, but also just like media behalf, a little bit behind the curtain here. Super Bowl Sunday is a big, big day for media, which means a lot of people are tuning in, which means you got to give people stuff too, right? You got to make sure things happen. You know what else you saw on Sunday happen? Deebo Samuel has been granted permission to request a trade. You think that just happened on Sunday morning?
Right.
No, I think that's been kind of building for a little bit. When you go into, as a media person, to Super Bowl Sunday and you got a lot of eyes on you got to make sure that things that maybe you've had in the hopper for a little bit kind of come out. So it not only was this report on Micah Parsons, but they also had nuggets on Max Crosby. They had nuggets on Myles Garrett. The whole theme is that the pass rusher market's going to get a little bit interesting this year because a lot of good guys need payment. So I think that was part of it. I also think that the Cowboys, this is part of their playbook for a long time, and I'm going to kind of set up Clarence here to kind of dunk on this thing because I'm trying to help.
Be quiet.
No.
No.
What do you mean?
Keep going.
No.
I'm
No,
quiet.
I'm setting you up. Watch. Because the Cowboys have this thing where, hey, we're going to kind of put these little inklings out there that we might not actually pay you top dollar. We might not actually make you the highest paid guy. Or, hey, we could just move on from you and get what we want. Don't you want to stay here in Dallas? But I don't think that works in this situation for the Cowboys. And frankly, it hasn't worked in a while because Micah Parsons already let you know whether it's actually true or not. I don't need to be the highest paid. I can sign early. I want to make sure that I'll even give up money to get Myles Garrett. I want to make sure Osa comes back. I want to make sure Dorrance comes back. I will do that. I will be the selfless guy. And in terms of public perception, which is kind of the game you want to play if you're doing this playbook, Micah's already won that. There's no way the Cowboys are going to be able to change that public perception unless things were able to go into the offseason where they said, hey, we have a deal and Micah won't take it. We're ready to give him the highest paid deal and he won't take it. So I think that public perception's already done. I think there's two playbooks, and frankly, I don't think that there's a lot of merit to it.
Oh, there's no merit to it.
That's what I'm saying. It's all a playbook.
You think Jerry Jones is Nico?
Yes.
You think Jerry Jones is Nico Harrison?
Yes, I think he's a bad GM.
Do you really think Jerry Jones? Well, yes, bad GM.
Yeah, I think he's a bad GM.
But you think he's going to trade his best player? He's not Nico. There's no Nico in Jerry.
I don't think he's going to trade his best player, but I think instead of like 100% to 0%, is like 93-7, because I do know, and I think that you guys would confirm, it's not universal in the Cowboys organization that they think that Micah Parsons is a pay him the most money, winning piece, got to have him here guy. I don't think that is not universal inside that building.
I don't think it was universal to pay Dak $60 million.
Yeah, I don't either. Right.
It wasn't.
Right.
But it's not a democracy in there.
Right.
Okay. It's not just because you feel that. There are a lot of people. This started last offseason. There are a lot of people in the organization who were tired of Micah Parsons' act, right?
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's still a lot of people in the organization who are tired of Micah Parsons' act. They don't get a vote.
yeah, for sure.
They don't get a vote. It's not about them getting a vote. And I hear you, but again, we talked to King Henry's agent, right? Cowboys didn't even make a phone call, okay? Do you think the Cowboys are going to canvass the league about Micah Parsons? Do you really think they're going to do that?
No.
If they don't do those things, you're just supposed to check and see what you can get, okay? They're not going to do that.
No, but when you put that out there, what happens now
that
is
thing might ring.
Right, you don't have to go check.
Yeah,
they go, wait.
If the phone ain't ringing,
the phone will ring,
it's Mia calling. What's the
when you said that, what you really mean?
Yeah.
Right. So they may not go check, but when you float that out there to go, hey, call. We're not calling you, but if you call us, we'll answer.
But all I know is that, and we're going to talk about the draft, best player available. You don't win in this league getting rid of your best players, generational players, difference-making players. We go back to the Khalil Mack decision by the Raiders. It didn't work out for either side. It didn't work out for Chicago. Didn't work out for the Raiders. But you don't
didn't work out for the Raiders.
Make a living trying to win championships, getting rid of your best players. Your focus is to acquire good players. Micah Parsons is a generational talent. Yes, New York Giants, right. Generational talent. On the verge of putting up Hall of Fame type numbers. That's just not realistic. And it's just not something that Jerry Jones is not going to do.
No, because, well, I agree. But I do think it goes to your point. Like, yes, you should not trade Micah Parsons. The goal in sports is to acquire the best players. When you have the best players, getting rid of them is a very bad plan. If you traded Micah Parsons, that would be an announcement that you know the Dak winning window doesn't exist.
Right.
That's what that would be. If you trade guys like that are King's ransom guys, what you're saying is I'm not competitive the next few years.
So
that's what you're saying.
I'm not trying to win now.
Can I say something?
Let
me first say this. I agree with every one of you that you should not trade.
Here comes the button.
Oh, thank you.
Right, I agree. Like let's put that out there because
Stop
they'll cut this part.
You cannot get a fair return for players that are that good.
What I'm saying, if you get a King's ransom, and can we just like iron out what a King's ransom looks
somebody
like?
Actually, are you going to go player and picks or picks? Because somebody sent me an idea yesterday, and I could give you a ransom.
If sending away Micah brings me what, 2?
DK Metcalf, 2 first-round picks.
I can turn that into DK Metcalf and then send that to Cleveland, 2 first rounds to Cleveland, bring back Myles Garrett. I got better.
Okay, now if you
I got better.
Time out. I got better.
Time out. I got better.
Because here's the thing. That is a great point.
I got better.
This front office is too lazy.
If I got 2 first-round picks and DK Metcalf, I ship those 2 first-round picks to Cleveland, bring in Myles Garrett. I got CD has more than maybes, and I still have a generational pass rusher, and
you know who does moves just like that?
Run
the
stopper.
Eagles.
I got better. So I want to say that I agree with what you gentlemen were saying. But if the King's ransom means something like that, 2 first and DK, I can have a better football team.
No one's giving you 2 first and DK. No one.
I was just theorizing.
Khalil Mack got traded for 2 first-round picks, and then they had to give him the contract. But no one's. I mean, I hear you. Maybe the 2 first, but I'm not giving you 2 first and a first-round talent.
Well,
okay, I understand.
But
yes,
2 first-round picks.
It's a dream.
2 first-round. I have my first-round pick. I pick up 2 more first-round picks.
1 more first-round pick in DK. You have your 2, yeah, and then you trade them, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, yeah.
Like there is a scenario where this team can take a player and send him away, get back a haul, and get better, and not lose too much ground on the same position for a generational player.
It's possible. If you could find a way to parlay it around and end up with Myles Garrett.
Would we all agree that Myles Garrett is a Hall of Fame player?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
And still today is a Hall of Fame player, right this second.
And still has another 3, 4?
And
probably at least 2 or 3 elite years.
And Myles Garrett wants to leave Cleveland. Why?
Because if he wants to get paid.
No. He wants to win.
When he wants to win. Good point.
Does Dallas help him do that?
I forgot about that.
I forgot about that. Does he want to come here?
Did you see the Super Bowl odds?
Did you
see the Super Bowl odds? 17.
Now, that's a whole horse of a different color. But now what the Dallas Cowboys do have in their favor is he's from here.
Yeah, he's from Martin.
So coming back here may be a little bit more incentivized.
Now, do you know? Yeah, okay. But do you know what's wrong with everything you just did?
I know what's wrong.
You know
what's
wrong with everything you just did? You don't know the one I'm going to say, though.
Yes, I do.
What?
Who owns the team?
No.
Oh.
I'm not always mad at Jared. Well,
yes,
I probably am. I just, that's just not always what I'm going to talk. Yes, it is. No, because if you're playing those games, what you're supposed to do is keep Micah and trade for Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
right.
That's when you're trying to win. You call them, give me a first round pick.
I mean, Myles Garrett's unhappy because he don't have a running mate.
Yeah, and the team that you're trying to chase down
got 2 or 3 of them dudes.
Congrats on your one great dominant defensive lineman. they got 5 dudes,
Yeah.
and they just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah, speaking of which, on the way here, I passed by Ascension this morning, the coffee shop, and I saw Howie Roseman talking with Jerry Jones. Did you see they put a sticker there that said, like, this is where the meeting happened? And it's like,
wow.
They're like putting that, immortalizing that moment,
Google
that table.
Get well soon, Anthony Davis. We're looking forward to the title run. Hey, Mavs.
Street clothes.
Tank.
Clothes.
Let's go get in the lottery. Coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, how big a hill do the Cowboys have to climb to catch that team that we just saw last night? It is wild. That's next.
And the Dallas Mavericks play tonight. They play Sacramento Kings. And if you want to be at that game, let me tell you how you should be able to get there. Download the Game Time app, use the promo code DLLS, and get $20 off your first purchase. Now, I get it. You may not have any. You may not. You won't have Anthony Davis tonight. But if you are truly an MFFL, then you should be there to cheer on your team. Shout out to Max Christie and company. But here's what I love about Game Time. Game Time, there is no tricky business, right? You see the price that you're going to pay before you get to checkout. It's not like see the price here and then we get to checkout. It's a whole nother price. Nope. What you see is what you're going to pay. They have all-in pricing. It's a feature that shows the total up front, that's surprising, no checkout fees. They have the viewing seat. It gets a panoramic view of where you're actually going to be sitting. So go see the price, see where you're going to be sitting, hit I'll buy. Head over to the Game Time app, use the promo code DLLS, and get $20 off your first purchase. What time is it?
Game time.
Oh.
Also, shout out to our friends at Sleeper. Don't always listen to the picks that I make, though. Friday, I went with straight hating because I just wanted the Eagles to lose, and I feared they were going to win, and said go less than on every Eagles player. And I'm pretty sure that all of them had a wonderful time. But Sleeper is awesome. It is so fun, and if you're a huge sports fan, sports nerd, or sports smart, what you do is you just make picks on if people are going to have more or less than their projected stats in each game. You can do it with basketball, football, baseball, hockey, whatever you want to do. They've got it there for you. And the more picks that you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. So you could be like, this guy passing yards more than, this guy receiving yards less than, this guy's going to score a touchdown, this guy bang, 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 and make a bunch of picks. It's a lot of fun. So, new users, if you download the Sleeper app, use the code DLLSBOYS. You'll get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply it to any contest. That's our friends at Sleeper.
Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. And also, I'm going to say this. If you are truly a fan of ours and have money.
And you're wealthy.
And you have some extra coins.
Yes.
If you have a few extra coins.
You just begging for money right now?
Yeah. Because I want to be we're first in a lot of other categories around here.
Yeah, we do numbers around here.
We do numbers around here.
Yeah.
People don't do numbers like we do around here.
Yeah.
But we're doing great. But we do numbers. The no number that we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah.
I was on the Mav show last week.
Yeah.
And they got up to a $99 super chat.
Mm.
Then I saw in the chat last night, the Stars, they got up into a $103 super chat.
Shout out to Allison.
I'm not saying like don't be like the owners of the team that we're covering.
You saying we have a poverty audience?
No, we got a big baller audience. Just don't act impoverished. Okay? Don't act like the team that we're covering ownership. Okay. I know y'all got big money over there. So hit the like button. Let's get this thing up over 100, and $104 puts us back in the lead. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying $104 puts us back in the league. $104 super chat puts DLS Cowboys back in the league.
Okay.
Just saying. Putting it out there.
Boss is going to appreciate that.
Just putting it out
there. That is some fine company work you've done there.
Just putting it out there. I'm a competitive.
The Eagles are really good. They watching what they did to the Chiefs. I didn't think they would do that to the Chiefs. I did think they would beat the Chiefs, but I didn't want to accept that. And you always feel dumb betting against Mahomes and Andy Reid. But the Chiefs are not who they once were. We were talking about it before the show. You can look at point differential throughout the year. It's a great predictor of how good a team actually is, even better than their record. And the Chiefs had the third best point differential in their own division. The Eagles had 100 points better differential throughout the season. The Eagles are an awesome team. And just trying to paint the picture of catching them is hard. And I look at that. They are, I think, roster player number 2 through player number 53. They're better than everyone in football, and I don't know who's near them. Dominant defensive line, awesome linebacker core, great secondary, dominant offensive line.
Detroit's near them. Healthy
Detroit might be.
Detroit's near them.
Baltimore's near them too.
Baltimore is probably in that mix.
Sometimes it's about matchups too, but I think Baltimore and Buffalo, Detroit, they're in that same category. Clearly, the Eagles are the best.
But the teams that can line up, rush 4, drop 7, and beat your ass blocking.
Yeah.
Yep.
My God, good luck.
And no one has a better defense.
No, and they did. Maybe that's optimism. They turned that around in a year.
Yeah.
Last year they had a lot of talented players. Their defense was bad.
No,
it was
bad
really
last
weird.
Year. They're one of the best turnarounds.
But
really
also they
bad.
got better. I mean, you got those young guys.
They got 2 rookie corners that are balling back-to-back years.
Yeah, guys take the jump
you
too.
got Mitchell, you got
Quignon
Mitchell
and DeJean.
That was this year.
That's this year.
Both the rookies. Those 2 rookie corners took a step, but Nolan Smith took a huge step from a year ago.
And Jalen Carter got
took
better.
Another huge step from a year ago.
Crowley's Milton.
I mean, that's where
Milton
Milton.
Williams.
I mean, they had good players with their
N'Kobe
draft
Dean.
picks, and we talk about.
Not that he was playing.
Yeah,
That's a lot of guys.
We talk about the guys that signed for agency, but their draft picks hit, especially on defense, and they got better. This is a scary team. I was scared to pick. Something told me the Eagles had a better team. We're going to win the game. Of course, it's Patrick Mahomes, a close game in the fourth quarter.
Right.
He and Andy Reid, they have a chance to win. But I just said Eagles are the better team. They're going to win. They're going to win.
They're better at 18 of the 22 starting spots, I think.
That defense, and to me, Kansas City's been living on borrowed time. I mean, they have not been. They've had the best record.
Right.
They've not been the best team all year, and they just kept getting by their skin of their chin.
That's
in
wild.
one-score games.
That's wild that living on borrowed time
Is
get you to the Super Bowl.
Oh, I agree.
15-2.
I agree.
I'm not
That's the
disagreeing
Mahomes
with you,
effect.
but that tells you just how far and above you have to be. That borrowed time means
15-2.
15-2, losing a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they beat Denver by a block field. I mean, it was just
They beat everybody by a block field goal.
Yeah, some fluky
That was a
stuff. They just
10-7
kept winning games.
team.
They just kept winning. Yeah, kept winning games. I mean, I thought Buffalo would beat them. This Buffalo's time.
Yeah.
They have a better team. They have a chance to beat them, but it didn't happen. But this Eagles team was so dominant. And if you're a Cowboy fan, it should be scary.
Yeah,
I mean, they are on the verge of a dynasty. They have with their young guys. Barkley's is not at the end of his career. Certainly, you have the receivers. They could run 2 or 3 off.
It took 5 minutes I was watching our friends over at PHLY, like their post game, just to see how they handled a Super Bowl victory. It took 5
What a company,
minutes.
man. You watched an Eagles celebration.
I was curious to see how they handled a Super Bowl win. I was curious to see from a I was envisioning when the Dallas Cowboys do it, how we would do it.
Yeah.
That's why I was taking lessons.
1 year from today,
So
our Super Bowl party.
In 2029, when the Eagles got to pay the piper, that's when the Cowboys
That's when we're going
cash
to take
in.
off, baby.
That's when it cashes in.
What?
It took them 5 minutes to utter the word dynasty, potentially. And I'm cautioning that because, they're loaded. And I still think that Jalen Hurts, while he is very clutch, I don't know if he can repeat all those performances over and over again in a Super Bowl setting.
He don't have to do nothing. He don't have to do.
That's
I mean,
the thing.
He made some clutch throws.
He threw to some open guys. He made a couple of really
some
good
clutch
He can
throws.
make good throws, but he's so comfortable, so calm. You got the running game. He never gets flustered. I mean,
How many times out of 10 does that game end up being that blowout?
It doesn't.
This is up for debate.
But it could have been the last
6 or
time. Remember,
7.
they had a chance
Out of
to
10?
blow.
Blowout?
A blowout.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either.
Kansas City does not have an answer for what happened in that game.
No.
They don't have an answer to that.
They
beat your ass.
Well, why don't they have an answer for that? And that's where I think in terms of roster
They
construction.
can't block.
Yeah, they can't block because also Eagles had a fantastic defensive line.
Yeah.
0 blitzes, and they had generated pressure on at least 3 quarters
Every
in
play.
57% of the time.
They gave the MVP to the wrong guy.
I agree 100%. Josh Sweat should have got it.
2.5 sacks
Should've
and
got it.
caused a pick.
But I ain't mad at Jalen Hurts getting it.
No, it's fine.
No,
Because
good, bro.
people like me hate on him all the
No,
time.
but it just because of the hate and what he has to deal with. He's not special.
That jump
he just
man
plays.
commercial
He
was sick.
wins, and you go back and I go back to Alabama when he
He's
got
in the right
benched.
scenario, and he
When he
has
got-
played well in big moments.
When he got, I mean, he played well the last time they played Kansas City Super. He had a great game.
Yeah, he
went
played
to one turnover was the difference in that game. But I go back to Alabama. We got benched, for Tua, and he was he can't win the big one. He's a good quarterback. You need a guy like Tua that's going to take you over the top, and he carried that.
Yeah.
He carried that. Went to Oklahoma, came to Philadelphia. They put out something about all those comments about when Philadelphia drafted him with Carson Wentz, and people ripped Howie. He got ripped for taking a quarterback in the second round.
and he was right.
He was right.
Howie's right often.
Cowboys wouldn't be wrong if they drafted a quarterback fairly high to be ready. Like, you're not wrong. Quarterback is so important that you're not wrong If a team didn't have a quarterback, I forgot what year it was, but somebody had 2 really, really high picks, and they picked 2 quarterbacks.
Oh, Cowboys
It'd be
picked 2.
insane to the world.
I mean, Kirk Cousins and RG3.
If you up your chances of finding a franchise quarterback, you're probably doing something smart.
That's what Jimmy tried to do. He picked Troy Aikman and Steve Walsh in the first round.
Dylan Gabriel's going to be a Cowboy.
And you find one. Yeah, there you go.
I've been pushing that agenda.
So like looking at their roster, it just brings me back to the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, how did they do this? The stuff that your front office cries about, they don't care.
Yeah.
Like the Cowboys are talking about the dead money from the bad contracts when they have $20 or $30 million in a given year to account for. The Eagles had 70 this year. They don't care. When the Philadelphia Eagles realize they've made a mistake, they make it right and they fire again. They cut a guy. Oh man, that's going to cost us $11 million to get rid of this guy. Cool. It saved us $80, whatever. And now we're moved on from that guy. And now we're going to do the next thing and we're going to fire and we're going to fire and we're going to fire. And the Cowboys run their cap and team building a lot more like the Bengals than they do the Eagles or Rams or whoever. When the Cowboys restructured Dak this offseason to create $40 million in cap space, what they will do with that $40 million is they will find guys on little contracts and the salary cap number will match what they make. Like that's what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if the Eagles have $40 million in space, Saquon's going to get 3 of it because we'll pay the rest later.
Yep.
And then we're going to insert superstar here. The Cowboys are going to look at the exact dollar amounts and be like, okay, so we can fit Osa and Jordan Lewis, and the amount they make per year is kind of how we're going to pay it out instead of firing at that freaking thing. Philadelphia gets rid of people. They'll trade people. There's no loyalty. They draft the best player available, and then we'll turn around and trade a guy at the same position because they're like, what are we going to do? The best guy. We had to pick him, so now we'll trade a guy. Like, they just run circles around this team in terms of how aggressive they're willing to be, the amount of cash they're willing to spend, and not being loyal to their players. Like, in some ways, that hurts the Cowboys. Most of their bad contracts are just, we really like this guy, so we'll keep him. And it's like, that's where they're running laps around you. And I hope that the Cowboys can be more like the Eagles.
My guy Clarence had an incredible question to Howie about that. And you know what Howie said? I don't have doomsday plans. I don't fear the 2029 point where I got to pay the piper. That's not exactly.
And they do have to pay the piper. In 2029, in theory, they're going to be eating like $120 million. Now, at that time, the salary cap's going to be $500.
Yeah. Right.
And if they're still good, they're going to take every good player and just push them out further, eat 120, because our current roster will chop that much off of and put it back there.
Right.
And you know what they can do when they meet the piper in 2029? They can show them 1 ring, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Maybe
or
3.
Or
Who
4.
knows? Who knows? Meanwhile, the Cowboys might still be crying about how do we manage the salary cap.
No, they have the little drought.
Yeah.
And what's even, when you look at comparing the two teams, it was, they win a Super Bowl and then they kind of meet the piper and they just kind of, all right, cool, we'll regroup. And they regrouped so fast.
Yeah.
Like that was the biggest thing, the way that they regrouped and got things back going again. But the problem is that the difference is that the Cowboys won't move off, and it's not the Cowboys. Jerry won't move off the spot of GM. And to have someone else come in here who has the mindset, the wherewithal, the fearlessness of a guy like Howie Roseman, and just support that. Right? Like just be an owner and president and support that guy.
Yeah.
And watch how he does it and see if that can't bring you the ultimate thing that you want or you say that you want in a championship.
A.J. Brown told me that Howie Roseman is the reason why they're in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And it's pretty obvious.
Right. What the Cowboys also won't move off on the fact of is that Dak Prescott has been very successful in the division. They won the division last year. That's still in their mind that, hey, we competed very well against the Eagles. We've competed very well against the Eagles last couple of years. They won 2 division championships in the last couple of years. They don't, in their mind, think they're far off from the Eagles.
Right.
Even reality says that's not true. Okay. But
and they've
don't
been closer to the Eagles in recent years.
Yes.
The Eagles, this finished product that they have is not what they were a year or 2 ago.
I agree, but that's not in the Cowboys' mindset. Right. We didn't have all the guys this year. Yeah. We competed. And so that's the problem, is thinking that they're close.
Yeah.
And closer than what they really are. And that's what they want to move off on.
Yeah, and a big part of what because somebody said, is this an Eagles site? The Eagles just won the Super Bowl. They're in the same division, and they do things very differently. And Jerry Jones being the general manager, these stories are all very intertwined. If you can't see that,
and Washington, they're
talking about the Eagles today.
Again, but they're one of those teams that we have to look up to now as well.
No doubt. This week, this whole season, and the Eagles winning it and the Cowboys going 7-10 is a referendum on how the Cowboys do business, how they have conducted business since the end of the last season, since they went and got blown out by Green Bay and lied about going all in and not going all in, waiting to play their guys, and then having a season they had in watching the Eagles go and win the Super Bowl. This is a direct reflection on the Cowboys. So, yes, we have to talk about it.
Yes, Clarence. Yes. You were cooking.
We got a little chill rant in there.
I mean, the idea of thinking that we shouldn't be talking about the Eagles on a Cowboys podcast when the Cowboys are looking up chasing the Eagles, that's the standard. That's the standard the Cowboys have to try to achieve.
Good job, Unc.
Yeah. I like when we get a little pop rant. Coming up next, it is you'll like the next segment. If you just want Cowboy things, you're going to like the next segment. We, on Radio Row for a week, I kept saying we were going to do some Cowboys optimism, and then whenever we presented the topic, it turned out we weren't optimistic about it. Find something you must.
Oh, dude, I forgot.
That was like Yoda style. Find something you must to be optimistic about that's happening right now with the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to do it next.
Let me tell you about my friends over at Ice Shaker. Some of you guys don't work out. That's cool. Don't worry about that. But maybe you're just like a casual water drinker, tea drinker, coffee drinker. No, it's tough. That's what I'm saying. It's made by the Grunt Brothers. It's not going to break. It's the Grunt Brothers. Hawks, Grunt Smash, that's going to be okay. But maybe if you don't work out, then that's not for you. This is for you. Officially licensed in all major sports leagues. And if you're a tea drinker, coffee drinker, latte drinker, iced coffee, hot coffee, whatever it is, get you one of these bad boys right here. Keeps your product hot or cold up to $30. Use the promo code ALLCITY25 and you'll get 25% off one of these. Good plastic straw, good thing over there. I like this thing right here, like the grippy part. Like when you're not hard to twist off, it's a good grip on it.
Grippy part?
Yeah, it gets a good grip to get this thing off, right? Okay. So, hey, listen, get one for yourself. Get one for a family member. And if you don't have to be a fan of anything, go to the custom site and you can download your own thing that you want to put on there. IceShaker.com, AllCity25, get 25% off.
Also like to salute our friends at Rugged Road. You know what you can get at Rugged Road? Cooler. I like coolers.
Yeah.
See, I like the Ice Shaker to keep that individual beverage warm, but what if you got 20 of them? You know what I'm saying? Slap them in your Rugged Road cooler, and you'll be good to go. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who deserve the best. It's ruggedroadoutdoors.com with the promo code DLLS. You can get 10% off. One of the most unique features about the Rugged Road cooler is its ability to always float upright. It don't just float. It floats the way you need it. It's floating. We all float down here. Lightweight design, durability. That's from It. Stephen King's It, the clown that was killing everybody. He tried to get the kid in the sewer by saying, we all float down here. Lightweight design, durability, dependability. That's what you get with our friends at Rugged Road. RuggedRoadOutdoors.com. Use the promo code DLLS. Joe, I'm going to need my marker back. I hadn't written yet.
Hands.
I was in the lights, too.
Mine did not work.
This didn't work.
I have one right here.
I know, but it worked out. Damn. All right, you're pop again. Unc has been screw that.
All right, so this segment, you guys have been on Radio Row all week long, and you were trying to get to something positive happening.
Every day I was teasing, we got some optimism from this thing that's coming up next, and we would start talking about that thing and realize that we were lying.
There was no optimism.
There was no optimism.
So, Whiteboard Wednesday. I mean, sorry, not Whiteboard Wednesday. Magic Marker Monday.
Yeah, Magic Marker Monday.
Told that thing Tuesday.
It is hard because when we first started this show, we were like, we're going to do a Whiteboard Wednesday. And for 1 week, we had shows on Wednesdays.
Yes.
And then starting the next week, there were games. So we had shows on Sundays and not Wednesdays. So it gets confusing.
Yep.
To your credit. So, yeah, we're looking for something either that's happening this offseason, something about the Cowboys that gives you confidence. It could be as easy as I got Micah and CD, just looking for a little pep. Something to feel good about today.
Pep Hamilton.
And I will start this thing with Clarence Hill.
Oh.
You don't want me to start. You don't want to. I'll start.
I'm ready.
I'll start.
I'm ready.
You got optimism?
I'm ready.
You hit me
Ready
with
to
a,
spew some optimism?
I'm ready.
Opium?
We got Micah.
We got Micah.
We got Dak.
We got Dak.
We got CD.
Yeah, see?
But most importantly, I like the staff hires, I like the decisions, the direction in the staff hires that the Cowboys have made. Certainly, I've been ranting. We can talk about whether they should have taken Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, Super Bowl champion offensive coordinator. You didn't want to wait for him. You want a shot. You want to give Shotty a shot. Give him a shot. Give him a shot. The shot he's taken is not just about him. It's about who he's brought with him. They talked about the run game. And certainly you look at the staff hires with running backs coach, the offensive line coach, the offensive coordinator focused on the run. That tells you that they're focused. They have a direction. Emmitt Smith talked about, they don't have a plan. Well, they do have a plan. They're showing you their plan. They're focused on the running game. But they're also focused on teachers. And they're also focused on getting new ideas and outside-the-box hires. Again, yesterday, Oregon receivers coach who has put some great receivers in this league. That whole plan of the guys that they have, they're bringing to the staff, that shot is not just recycling old friends, recycling the coaches who, you were on this team this year, now you're on this team because you've been in the system. No, they're coming with new ideas, new coaches. So let's tote that thing. Are we toting it? What are we doing?
It's not tote.
I'm sorry.
God. It's a whiteboard Wednesday.
Whiteboard Wednesday.
It's not a whiteboard Wednesday. It's a magic marker Monday.
It's a magic marker Monday.
This is my optimism.
This is why this is supposed to be a holiday.
This is my optimism. The day after Super Bowl is a holiday. This is my optimism. I like the direction. I like the hires. I like the energy, the new energy in the building.
Shout out to Aaron in the super chat. He's our trucker. He said, I said thank a trucker before because I'm a trucker and was the only super. And we don't get treated very well these days. Oh, I concede. I can't defend anyone anymore. I'll just watch and enjoy. Go boys, and thanks DLLS. Be kind to a trucker today.
And Aaron.
Hit us one time.
Love you. Be careful at those truck stops. Them people that come up to you.
Them lot lizards.
Be careful at those truck stops.
Aaron, go ahead. Get you some.
It's one of them lot lizards.
Go ahead. Get you some.
Truck stops, baby.
Jesse, you.
For me, my optimism will be that everyone is healed up. This season,
they did have a lot of injuries.
It was
got a lot of people.
I think the only team.
Well, not everyone. Trayvon Diggs and DeMarvion Overshown ain't gonna be healed up.
Eventually.
Yeah,
one day.
Eventually.
Yeah.
They'll get there.
God willing.
2025, they'll be.
2026, they'll
hopefully.
get
Piper.
Hopefully.
Diggs won't be here in 2026.
Oh. But the Cowboys.
Breaking news, tweet that.
The Cowboys were one of the most injured teams in the league last year. I think Detroit had the most.
Boy, Detroit got destroyed.
Detroit had the most, and the Cowboy was up there with injuries. And I think being healthy will help this football team. And coming into the offseason, Dak should be fully healthy. There's no contract that had to happen with CeeDee Lamb. Hopefully those people that they draft in there won't be any holdouts there. They get all that stuff signed, sealed, and delivered. Micah will be there. You get guys like Sam Williams will be back. And just overall having a bunch of guys healthy. I know that Zach Martin is kind of still on the fence. He talked about, I want to see how the ankle feels and once it fully heals up, and that, that can go either way. But health will always matter for a football team's success. And I think that's one thing to be hopeful about, is that when you enter this next year, now, knock on wood, there's still mini camp and OTAs and training camp where someone can
that
get.
wasn't wood.
Well, it's kind of hard.
It's like a homage to wood.
Yeah. Okay. It's like mahogany.
Okay.
Those things can happen there, but they will enter the season, hopefully, a healthy unit. And that right there gives you a chance. That gives you a chance to be better. And so for me, it's the health. That is the one thing I'm looking forward to, is seeing what this team will look like healthy going into the 2025-2026 season.
Sounds like a man that can't find anything to be optimistic about.
No.
So people going to feel better.
That sounds like more hope than optimism.
Yeah, but I mean, I support it.
Healed.
I support it.
Healed.
I like that he did a heart as the top of his
that
eye.
Right there? You picked that up?
Everyone is.
Pick that up right there?
Yeah, I picked that up.
Pick that up right there. It's Valentine's week.
Got a Valentine?
You always got to stop with that.
You brought up Valentine's week?
Yeah, don't stop, man.
I'll give myself the highest degree of difficulty of going last. Okay. Go ahead, Joe.
Before I go, how about monogamy? It's like a noggin. monogamy. So, that was the pun off mahogany.
Okay.
So
that didn't land the way you thought it was going to
land.
No. It didn't land.
Sometimes you got to shoot them up.
That one didn't land.
Clarence took mine, so I had to adjust. And this one I want to say is a very caveated optimism. But one thing that Jerry Jones always talks about is like my reflection relative to the mirror, right? And that one, your reflection is what it is. It's not relative. But if you really want to take a look at yourself, Jerry, you got to look at that reflection and realize that the relativity of that is pretty jarring when you consider what the Eagles just did, when you consider what Washington just did. Will you actually make a change this time? We talk about, hey, they won't do their due diligence. They won't spend in free agency. They're going to say all these things and not actually do it. They're going to do the playbook with Micah. I'm wondering if there is some semblance of change that could happen this year, because I heard him talk about the salary cap for the first time, saying that we got to be better about that. I really hadn't heard him say that before. We heard Stephen Jones say, we actually have to go back to making trades like this. We got to take best player available like CeeDee Lamb. I'm wondering if there's a seed of doubt or insecurity now in Stephen and Jerry Jones to a point, watching these two teams do what they did this year in terms of the Eagles and Commanders. Maybe, potentially, I think there's optimism that they could change. I think that there's optimism that they might do something. I don't know if they're going to go sign Saquon Barkley-esque players for big deals that they'll limit the cap hit in year one and push it off to 2029 where they pay the piper. But I'm wondering if they'll sign a guy for $8 million. They'll make a trade for a wide receiver. They'll do just a little bit. I think there's optimism that they're going to do more than they did last season.
And I think we're probably all kind of dumb and kind of naive. Because when I hear them talk, I'm thinking that too, where it's like, you know what? But then part of me is like, that man is 82 years old.
Stubborn.
And he is winning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, not in the way that you or us might want him to, but that man is winning.
Yeah.
Doing it the way he's doing it.
It's better because just Thursday night, and I hear he said all that stuff, but Thursday night, it's still a shocker that the Cowboys in the Super Bowl because we committed to Dak and we committed to CD and we paid so much. So what he talks out of both sides of his mouth. Yeah. And what he calls all in is not really all in. What he calls is committed, he's really not committed. It's not the same type of committed that we're talking about. Certainly, yes, they want to change and how they do things, but they're going to tell you paying Dak and paying CD, that tells you we're 100% investing in this organization, even though they were already on the team last year.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything to prove the guys. And
we kept the player. Now we're better because we kept the guy.
So they're going to give Micah Parsons this deal and tell you no one's more committed to us because of what we paying Dak and CD and Micah. No one's more all in, more invested than us than what we're paying these guys. But you haven't done anything to improve the team.
No, and optimism is rooted in naivete. To be honest with you, it's the idea that something might happen and could happen. So I'm just throwing that optimism market out there. I like it. Potential.
Mine's pretty much a follow-up on what Clarence did and what Joe wanted to do, but I'm going to just phrase it as O-line.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that gives you optimism?
So
the coaching hires.
Hear me out.
I'm listening.
It's more about
I'm listening.
I think that
pull this one out your butt.
Well, it's just hard for me to no, it's just the sentence I'm trying to make that's challenging me right now because it's hard for me to say like I don't believe in broadcasting with like personal attacks, but in the case of Jerry, do I get in the boundaries of that? A little bit. But the point is that you're bad at your job. I'm pointing it out factually, right? I'm not saying I'm trying not to call names. You're bad at your job. And without being out there and seeing it, it's hard to make a definitive statement of so-and-so is a good or bad coach, right? Unless they're like a play caller and you can see the evidence. But I think for the most part, the Cowboys have done a bad job of either schematically or developing players on the offensive line. And I believe that points to they needed better coaching when it comes to that part of the team. And so the fact that they went so far as to find a guy who they think is a very good offensive line coach, developer, schemer, run game, and give him an OC job to basically have him coach your O-line, I think. And to be that, because your OC is your head coach. I like that. Because if Terrence Steele can play better, that's big. If Cooper Beebe can go from nice, not a bad rookie year, to a stud, that's huge. If you can get Tyler Guyton to be a decent NFL left tackle in his second year. I want them to still invest in that and bring in better players potentially at right guard or left tackle. But I appreciate that they're trying via the coaching route. And I do love how varied where their coaches are coming from is. Like, I want a head coach to be able to hire their own staff, but if you're just hiring your homeboys, I don't like that. And it seems like whoever's in charge of this whole deal, they did cast a wide net to find guys.
What do college coaches have in common? They develop.
Yeah.
They develop. And guess what? You went after a running back college coach. You went after two, didn't get it. But you got an O-line coach and a wide receiver coach from college that are known for developing talent.
And the running back coach that did came from the NFL, but he was a former college coach.
True.
So he's in the same vein.
Coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, I think Joe Hoyt just did the biggest about face in the history of the world about what he wants the Cowboys to do. It's next. But first, shout out to everybody who's here. We appreciate you. If you're hitting that like button for each show, we love you. If you are in the chat, we love you. If you're in the super chat, obviously we love you just a little more, but we love you. And if you are a big-time DFW sports fan, we want you to sign up to be a diehard at alldlls.com because we are a one-stop shop for everything you need for your DFW sports. Shows for every team. Great content from beat writers, journalists for every team. We've got, when you sign up to be a diehard, you'll get access, obviously, to an ad-free experience on the website, the diehard level content that's written on the website. Our draft stuff for the NFL draft with Fran Duffy is incredible. The interactive draft rankings and scouting reports and all those different things that you get is awesome. You sign up to be a diehard, you get that. Oh, you get discounts on merch.
That's right.
This is my hoodie. My hoodie. You get 20% discount on merch when you're signed up to be a diehard. You get to pick a free T-shirt from our merch shop. You get a diehard carrying card.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for him, our boss's boss is sitting on a couch directly to my left, and he's going to hear me say this. If I don't get my diehard carrying card,
we don't get our diehard carrying card,
there will be hell to pay. There will be hell to pay because it's cool, and I want it. So you get one. I'm not going to sign to be a diehard. I work here. I get it. But yeah, and we have a Discord where we got all sorts of different things happening. It's great to be in there during games in the Mavericks one or the Stars one or whatever, but it's also fun to just fart around and people in the food one and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Positive Vibes channel, all sorts of good stuff. So sign up. And I have news for you. I'm not asking you to sign up.
Telling you.
I'm telling you to sign up.
Telling you.
Or else. Which is not a threat.
Do it.
I think Joe watched the Super Bowl last night and watched Saquon Barkley get 2.3 yards a carry and just canceled his whole Ashton Jeanty campaign, and I thought that was funny in the pre-show. I'm just throwing that out there.
No, it's hilarious. And I'm not out on them drafting Ashton Jeanty at 12. I do think we've talked about it. Best player available is a great call. And if you look at Saquon Barkley having the ability to get 60-plus yard carries 7 times this season and doing what he did, even last night when they clearly targeted him in terms of trying to stop him and seeing some of the cuts he made, he's incredible. I think if you can get something similar to that, that's fantastic. But I look at the Cowboys' defensive line, and it's a dire situation.
Okay, so it was less that Saquon didn't dominate that game than it was, holy crap, when you're winning in the trenches.
When you're winning in the trenches, when you build from within out, you can absolutely dominate a game, and you can stop a guy who I think was inevitable in terms of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes looked shaky last night. We talked about it on the way up here. Travis Kelce, kind of known for like, here, give me a little second and let me just do my one-on-one at the Senior Bowl thing and get open. Yeah, no, that doesn't work when you have no time, right? They were right on Patrick Mahomes' face the entire time. And I look at this Cowboys defensive line, and I don't see a lot of optimism currently for them to actually make enough moves to kind of get to that position without taking someone at 12. And that's my opinion right now. I'm still cool with Ashton Jeanty if he falls, and I think we talked about this scenario in pregame. If Walter Nolan... If Ashton Jeanty is versus Walter Nolan, like if Mason Graham is gone.
Everybody knows Jeanty, but I wanted to make sure draft stuff because I do this all the time because I talk about the draft too much and know the players. Walter Nolan is a defensive tackle at Ole Miss. He'll be a first-round pick. He's probably not as mocked in the top 10 or 15 as guys like Graham at Michigan or Ashton Jeanty, but Walter Nolan is the 3-technique defensive tackle that is the most physically gifted. He's a former number 1 overall recruit in the country.
Fantastic.
He is, when you go physical tools, the way you are built, how strong you are, how agile you are, he doesn't have it all together consistently, but he has everything you dream of physically.
Yeah, and if you, or Mike Green that's another guy where it's like, if you can pair someone with Micah.
Marshall pass rusher. If
you can just have enough guys, you can maybe bring back Osa on top of that too. I think that the Cowboys' biggest need is their defensive line. And you are not going anywhere in terms of where you want to go if you don't have a defensive line that get there. I think if you have Ashton Jeanty, you can get to the playoffs next year. I think Ashton Jeanty can be an instant impact guy in year 1. You can get to the playoffs. You can make some noise, but you are not going to win a Super Bowl and stop a guy like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen without a defensive line that can corral him.
Go ahead.
No, I'm piggybacking on you, and Micah Parsons piggybacking on you. He tweeted yesterday, defense wins championships. The Eagles are putting on a masterclass on defense, and
defense wins championship if you're.
That's my point.
The best teams win championships.
No, but I mean, defense keeps you in game. Defense travels.
If you don't have a good offense, you're not going to get anywhere near the Super Bowl.
No doubt. But what was the MVP of last night?
We're talking about
Sweat, probably,
and their whole defense.
We're talking just putting you over the top, and I've said the Cowboys need to have a better defense. They have to focus on defense, whether defense line, defense end, secondary. Improve the defense. You know, you can overcome mistakes. Your quarterback throws an interception, you have a defense, it keeps you in games. It hurts through early interception. Didn't matter. It was like a punt, but the defense.
Bad interception.
But it was a bad interception. But the defense gave them nothing. Yeah. You got to have a defense. So I'm with that. Improve the defense. Certainly, I would love Jeanty. I love a receiver. I would love to improve the offensive line. But the Cowboys really want to have a foundation for a consistent contender. It has to start with a dominant defense.
And see, that's where I go get a proven guy. Like, go get someone who in the league.
But they're pricey. They're really pricey.
Hey, Jerry.
They're really pricey.
Steven,
rookies don't have immediate impacts either.
Only
no,
so
I know.
much
So how much is Milton Williams?
We're trying to win right now.
Can we afford Osa if we're the Cowboys?
You're trying to win right now.
Absolutely.
We can. Will we?
The goal is to win right now.
I think they might have to sign Osa.
I think they might franchise that.
They might have to. Sorry, Jesse, what were you
doing?
No.
No.
It's expensive. That's all I'm saying.
That's just my biggest thing is that we have to stop worrying about the price of the ticket.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to win, go get guys who can impact the game today, right? Because the rookies, I'm with you, right? We can have this for the next 5, 7, 10 years. But we're talking about making an immediate impact today. Because if you're not winning next year, whatever window you were talking about, it shrinks even more now.
Right.
Hey, Jesse, sounds like you want Ashton Jeanty. You know which position makes immediate impacts?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Running backs play in the league, no problem.
No, we're talking about defensive line here.
Okay,
don't start trying to move the goalposts on me now. Don't start doing that.
Also, I'm not out on Ashton Jeanty for
which is just further evidence that the position doesn't matter all that much.
Yeah, let's not move the goalposts here. I'm just saying, go get someone in a spot that you've needed filled for a very long time. You've needed defensive tackle filled for a very, very long time.
There's also not a lot of good guys on the market, frankly.
Yeah, and look, this is the big challenge for the Cowboys is who you have to catch and the position you've put yourself in already. Because I get what everybody is saying, and I think I dig what you're saying, Joe. I also think that when you do that is when you F up drafting.
Yeah.
When you go, look, we've got to have... That's when you make a bad pick. We've got to get a nose tackle to stop this run. So you picked Mozzie Smith with Nolan Smith on the board and Joey Porter Jr. on the board.
I forgot
more
that
premium
Nolan was
positions, better prospects, and you picked what you, quote, needed. That's how you miss.
They passed on Nolan for Mozzie. You're right.
Nolan was 2 picks later, and Joey Porter Jr. was a couple picks after that.
Imagine what him and Micah could have done.
Yeah, it'd be fun. And like that's where, but you can't, sometimes you force yourself to do that. If you're not active in trading in free agency, you've got to not desperately need something.
Right.
You have to go sign a functional NFL player at defensive tackle. You have to go sign a functional player at all these different spots because your well ran dry on drafting well, and you let an entire free agency exodus happen, and you don't trade. Like you need everything. And if you zero in and say, yeah, but I have to win in the trenches, I need a D tackle, and you pick your 17th best player instead of your 7th best player, you deserve to have that hurt because you did it to yourself.
You know the irony of this conversation too? I just realized.
The irony.
What are the 2 biggest, deepest positions in the draft this year?
Running back
and defensive line.
Running back's good. D-line's good.
So because I had this idea, I was like, okay, well, let me give you the scenario, Jeff. Like, say they take Ashton GT and then Derek Harmon in round 2.
Oregon D tackle.
Or they flip it, go Walter Nolan, Ole Miss in round 1, and take Caleb Johnson from Iowa in round 2.
I like them both.
That's what I'm saying. Both scenarios, you could maybe then go 2 and 3 D-line running back, and then go Emeka Ibuka or Luther Burden in round 1.
When you guys say defensive line, are you talking about D tackle?
Tackles. D tackle specifically.
There's good edge guys too, but I think the D tackle group is better than usual.
Way deeper
in terms of like top 60 guys. Like I think you'll probably see 7 or 8 D tackles in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them. Every draft is different. This one is like it's a good draft. Overall, kind of sucks at the top.
Yeah.
But it's a really good draft. You can get help in this thing. Just don't F it up.
So it sucks at the top.
Sucks at the top.
It sucks at the top.
Let me rephrase.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
I'll explain it.
I like it.
Abdul Carter is an awesome prospect.
Okay.
So is Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Outside of them, I don't think that there is a player that most years you're like, yeah, I'd pick him in the top 5.
Okay.
Like Mason Graham is not a top 5 pick in most drafts.
No. Okay.
Tet McMillan is not a top 5 pick in most drafts. But, those are premium positions, and somebody's got to get picked in the top 5.
Quarterbacks too.
Top 10.
Yeah,
it's a bad quarterback year too.
Yeah.
Right.
Bad quarterback year.
Yeah.
What does this running back fit in most drafts?
Ashton?
Yes.
I think he'd be number 1 in most.
Okay.
He'd be number 1 in most.
So
I think
this is
from a running back perspective.
Yeah, from and running back.
But overall, he's a top 10 player, and I think
he'd be a top 10 draft in most classes.
Okay, so he's
top 10 talent. It depends because some people are just he is running back. Therefore,
because you've had him number 3 overall talent wise in your board.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that
but you
just
do have to bake in what they play.
That you have to take Genty. If this is not a special draft for special players at the top of the draft, is what you're telling me. I'm just based on what you're telling me.
I acknowledge that's why I'm open to them taking
Okay,
Genty.
that's what you're telling me.
Yes.
Okay, then you don't pass on a guy who will be considered a top 10 type talent no matter what the draft is over guys who are top 10 talents in this draft who may not be top 10 talents other years.
But my thing with Genty
You're not wrong.
and other
that's all I'm saying.
But it isn't like Genty's up here and then the other running backs are like way down here. I think it's more closer to the talent when you look at the other running backs. Like you're talking about.
I think there's a reasonable gap from Genty to, the way I see them, to Omarion Hampton, the North Carolina running back.
Yeah.
And then I think there's probably a gap to Caleb Johnson at Iowa. And then if you want to throw the Ohio State guys in, I think the hodgepodge happens. I think it's, for me, 1 is clear and 2 is clear, and then smash them all together. But it's running back.
I know.
The scenario you go to is more important for running back than anything else. And so if you want to prioritize the scenario over the guy that you're putting in it, I think that's the right thing to do. If I can block him up, Travion Henderson can run behind it. If I can't block him up, why the hell did I burn a top 12 pick on a running back?
Yeah.
Before we do, let's do Super Chat, but before we do the draft, can we do a legit war room episode?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where let's just hash it out. We have 10 minutes on the clock and let's fight.
We'll pull up an actual mock draft
That's
simulator,
what I'm saying.
Fight out every pick.
I think it'd be very fun.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That'd be very fun.
Hell yeah.
It'd be very fun.
Super chats.
It's draft season.
If Jared pursues T. Higgins, I'll believe again. Yeah, that's an aggressive move. Go get T. Higgins. Go trade
T.
for.
Higgins gonna cost more than CeeDee Lamb.
Go try. No, he's not. Go. He's one of those guys that exists just below
might.
setting a bar.
But then the bar moves up anyway. So if that's
but I don't think it does for him.
Okay.
That'd be interesting. That's a good question.
Keem, I'm in Philly, land of the green scumbags, and that Super Bowl is depressing. Cowboys got to make moves this offseason. Philadelphia Cowboy fans are drowning. That's got to suck.
You are drowning, sir.
What do you think if we trade Micah for 2 firsts, top 5 this draft, then trading that back for 2 firsts and giving us draft capital to move for Manning? Man, can we let Arch play first?
I was going to say.
Can we let
Manning
him
is 2
play?
years away, sir.
He might be one. I'm just saying.
He's staying 2 years.
What if he balls out?
He's staying
Still
2
take-
years.
gonna be
still take-
The Manning family, he's staying 2 years.
What if he wins a natty next
He's
year?
his own person. Rollo or Rolo. BPA
Rollo!
at a premium position this high in round 1. I agree for the most part. Best player available, and if it is a premium position, that is even better. But maybe Genty.
Oh, God, that's why I think a War Room
Genty!
episode would be fascinating.
Maybe Genty.
More explosive Emmitt Smith, baby. The
That's
more
right. That's right.
explosive
Trevor's
Emmitt
reaction
Smith.
to that.
That's right. But he said that's what people said, so
Yeah.
he'll go with it.
Which is smart. He's smart and swaggy.
Thanks for hanging with us. We will be back tomorrow on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through, so be cool to everybody. We love you. Be easy.
Eliminate the contingencies.
Or else, not a threat.
We all silly like the mayor.